Hi, how is everyone doing? Yeah, yesterday I was really tired. Today I feel a little bit refreshed. How is everybody doing? What's going on? So, we're going back to the basics of getting our goals. It's a month and a half, so to speak, towards the end of the year. We are grateful to be here. It's Thanksgiving season. Thanksgiving is in the US here where I live right now. It's probably 2 weeks away. Um, and one of the best ways you can address stress is to be grateful. But sometimes being grateful, gratitude can feel extremely difficult when you're going through hard stuff. So, one of the ways that I've been challenged recently, and I feel like I'm being dotted in my heart, is to remember the great things that have happened in my life, the great things that God has really, really done. And in the spirit of Thanksgiving, in the spirit of ending the year, and of course, my birthday is always in January. So it's a long festive season. It's a long celebratory season. We have Thanksgiving in November. We have Christmas uh, in in December, and then we have my birthday, and I have one of my children's birthday in December. My brother's birthday is in January. So we have my dad's birthday is in December. And there's a lot of celebrations that goes on around the season. One of the hardest thing for someone like me who lives in diaspora with majority of her family outside the country is during the holiday season. Because one of the biggest things that I miss during the holiday season is sitting around the fire or sitting outside when it's warm, because it's normally kind of humid and warm back where I grew up, and singing hymns, singing Kamba hymns or English hymns, singing songs, Christmas songs, all kinds of songs. But the most beautiful memory of that season is when all the women are cooking chapati inside the house and all the kids are outside. We are singing Christmas songs, we are singing some joyous songs, and we are using makeshift drums or those metallic containers that used to have oil, cooking oil, and everybody is sitting in their homes. And in some of the countryside, we have valleys and hills and things like that. And every kid is outside their home, and we are all singing the same song. And it's a beautiful melody, it's a beautiful harmony, it's a beautiful song. And we are all singing the same song. We are in different places. We are either a mile away, 2 miles from each other, but we are all singing the same song. And that's a memory that I remember. Christmas, and for me being in diaspora with my immediate family out of this country, sometimes it can get a little bit tricky when my kids are growing in different traditions and I grew up in different traditions, and it can be a difficult time. But one of the things that I'm choosing to do this season is to look back and look at things that God has done and celebrate. I don't want to sit in a corner trying to pity party myself. Oh, I wish I was with my family. I wish we were singing songs. I wish we were cooking chapati together and just making all jubilant songs and memories and going to church in the morning. Christmas morning here, people don't go to church. They go to church on Christmas Eve, uh, and a lot of things. But I want us to remember one of the things that you can really jumpstart uh, your your gratitude journey is by remembering the things that God has done. It is a beautiful thing, and because really, and if you're like me, a realist, you see things for what they are. You're not hopeless, but you know the reality of how things look like. And when I'm in those really really tight moments, it is hard sometimes, and many times for me, I'll speak for myself. It can be extremely hard for me to be grateful. It's not my natural disposition. It has to be the gifting of God for me to be grateful at the face of adversity, at the face of difficult challenges. And you would think after going through a lot of things that I've gone through, I would have learned to change. But the flesh is just too difficult. But I'm thankful, one, because God is the one who gives us to trial. Number two, A time like this last year, I was looking at my memories from Facebook and I was looking at a picture of myself extremely drained, tired, and then I remembered. And that's what also kind of sealed my desire to do this challenge of just being grateful throughout this season of Thanksgiving, this season of Christmas, the season of the New Year, January birthdays, and all those celebrations. Just looking at milestones and things that God has done. And if you would, and I encourage you, and I really call you to join me, that we will look back and see things that God has done and let us celebrate and give thanks. And one thing I want to kick off and start with is I look back a year from today and I remember it was an extremely difficult time. This year in itself has been challenging for me, but last year, October, November, was an extremely challenging period of my life, emotionally, spiritually, career wise, friendships, family, and all the things that you can remember or things you can mention. It was extremely difficult. And I remember I was moving into a new house. I had several friendships that were really challenged. Around October, we lost one of our dear friends here in the US, and the church that I used to go to. She was really dear to me, and we lost her through a long battle with cancer. And a lot of other friendships that were really strained. And I was left in a place feeling like I lost. I am lost. I'm drowned. I'm drowning. And the job that I had, I was working at a hospital, and it was extremely difficult and challenging. And I remember a time like today. It's November 13th. I was contemplating putting in my resignation letter because all I could do is go to work in the morning crying and come home crying. On a Monday, on a Sunday night, every time I'm coming from Sunday night service, my body would literally start tensing up and getting just stressed out, thinking of going to work the following day. And it was hard. It was really hard as a single parent and bringing up children in a very difficult environment. The savored relationships, they felt like going through marital separation. They were not relationships or whatever, but they felt like something, a part of me had been broken off. And also at the same time, making bad decisions, not being grateful, not looking at things with a very sober mind, and just being hurt over and over again by someone I really cared for and putting myself in harm's way. And as a recovering people pleaser, making really unethical towards myself decisions that really were not good, and it was a difficult situation. And today I remember I didn't know how I was going to survive. And I'm moving to a new house. It's expensive. Housing, when you live in the US, housing is not cheap. I didn't know how I was going to afford the rent. I didn't have a bed. I didn't have a lot of the house because I had stored my things. I was living with friends, and I had given up all the house things that I had, and I didn't have nothing. And I'm looking a job that is challenging. It wasn't to a level that could sustain a good lifestyle. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to survive this. But I was like, Lord, I can't stay in this job. I need to quit. And I tried. And being the people pleaser that I was, it was very difficult for me to even think of quitting. But I remember I was sick. And that time I got a really bad cold. And dropping kids to school, going to work, going to pick them up again, trying to move, trying to unpack things, put things where they needed to be. Life is moving, it's not waiting. And it was difficult. And I didn't know how I was going to survive. I didn't know how I was going to see the end of that tunnel. And I quit. I put in my resignation. December 15th was my last day of 2023. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I didn't have a job the entirety of January. And I don't know, it was just God's grace. I cannot ascribe it to anything else because if you know me, I can be a pessimist, but the grace of God that gives me to triumph held me. And somewhere in January, somebody, a recruiter I didn't know, they sent me this job. Like, just apply, you've been selected to go. I didn't, it was an old job site that I had put in my resume maybe months back since I had become a registered dietitian. And I put, and they emailed me and they're like, oh, if you're interested in this job, call this person, schedule an interview, and go see if you will get a job. And I was like, what can I lose? I was like, I really don't want to go back to work. I was having a bad anxiety in terms of job related because I didn't have a good experience in my dietetic internship. And then here I'm coming in a job that I love to do, but I didn't have a good experience. And again, I was beginning my career in clinical dietetics. All through before, I had worked a lot in nutrition in public health. And I was beginning to hate, for lack of a better word, to completely dislike working in the clinical space. It's something I wanted to grow in, it's something I was looking forward to, but I was beginning to be like, I just don't want to be in this space. And to cut the long story short, I went, I talked to the hiring manager. We had an interview, and against my faith, because I didn't believe I was going to get the job, I was like, let me just go do it, see what it is. It's been a while since I did an interview, and I got the job. And I am grateful. It's been God's grace. It's been hard. It's been challenging this year, but I look back and I remember, because some of these things we forget, and when we don't remember how things were, sometimes when we made a certain prayer, it can be really, really easy to forget and fall into the trap of complaining and murmuring and bickering and all sorts of things. And by the time we finish complaining, we are sick inside our bodies, our health, our guts are screaming, I need help. So why don't you join me in this season and look for things, be intentional for us in looking back into the things that God has done and celebrating and being grateful. And I'm not trying to underestimate if there's a situation that you're going through that is extremely difficult and giving you health challenges and making you not just have the stamina to choose healthy food choices or be in a healthy mindset that can lead you to achieving your weight goals. I don't want to underestimate that. However, I would like us to intentionally ignore the things that are really difficult that we can't do anything about and take a step back and look for things that we will look and say, I am grateful for this. It's going to be extremely hard. It's going to be a muscle of choice, because when things are hard, we don't want to think back. We want to sort whatever is happening right now. But I promise you, like the story that I talked about yesterday of the oil just flowing through the burner and all that. When things are very chaotic, I think one way of just letting off the steering wheel and letting go of trying to fix the situation is standing still and remembering the things that God has triumphed you through. So that is a story I wanted to share today, and really just be thankful and for God bringing me to this point. Things are not where I want them to be. The things that I look and I'm like, I wish this was different. However, I just want to encourage myself, to encourage you, for us to be able to remember the things that God has triumphed us through. If you have any questions, you have any testimonies, you have any situation that God has brought you through, please go ahead and share under this video. Send me a DM. Let's interact. If you're going through a time and you just want somebody to help pray with you, please shoot me a DM. I completely understand when you do not have people close to you, when you do not have confidence, or you do not have the strength to share anything with somebody close to you, a friend, a church member, a family member, and you just need somebody who else can just hold your hand. Go ahead and just send me a DM. We can pray together. We can remember together. we can be grateful together. So go ahead and comment below your testimonies, things that you're remembering during this Thanksgiving season, things that you're grateful for, um, things that you remember from the past that you're really grateful for, things that like, I don't know how I survived that one. I can't even tell you. I can explain to you. And then let's walk this journey together. And I wanted to share another experience. I am going through something called I Walk in Worthiness. It is a 30-day walking challenge. Like I always say in this platform, exercise, extreme exercise is not one of my advocacy issues in weight loss and health management. Exercise is good for mental health, for just natural and bodily functions, but it's not basic for weight loss. However, walking is one of my favorite exercises. And then I came across this program with a lady, a friend of mine I met in the business world. And she has developed a program called I Walk in Worthiness. It's stories of women, 30 stories of women who have gone through challenging situations. God has given them triumph. And they share their stories of God's grace and goodness. And there is weekly statements and verses that you can go through. It has a workbook. And this is a beautiful part of it. When you sign up for that program, you you have the opportunity to make income. You and you're able to use that program to work with a friend, work with a group of friends, and you can make an income. If you're interested to know how this works, please DM me and mention I Walk in Worthiness, and let's talk about it. I think it's a really cool idea. It's a cool thing that you can do, and you can make an income from it. Just DM me and I will give you all the details, and then we can get going. Otherwise, I don't want to make this extremely long than I intended to be. And I am wishing you a good night, a good morning, a good day, wherever you are, whatever time it is. And I pray that the Lord will bless you, the Lord will keep you, the Lord will cause his face to shine upon you. May the Lord give you all his grace, and see you soon. Bye bye.